I want to talk to you about the real problem in our society that no one seems to want to address, but it is everywhere. We are in a society right now that is fundamentally changing. We are changing on many, many levels. We're changing jobs. We know that things are not going to be the same. Massive companies are trying to find their way through this change. Our towns are changing. There's no jobs in many of our small towns in America. Farming is seemingly dying in this nation. We are a nation of farmers. When you lose that, you begin to lose real meaning. Our city skylines are so bright, we can't even see the stars and ask ourselves, wow, who are we? Let alone, who am I? We are being filled with meaningless junk. We're a nation of shoppers. We're all trying to fill some empty hole. There doesn't seem to be any answers, not from the ages. No, look backward. Look backward and see if you can find any answers. No, nobody at any time had any good answers. No, it's all new answers. That doesn't make sense. Our children aren't talking to each other. We're just texting one another. We're becoming animals online. There's a real problem with depression. Suicides are through the roof. What is the cause of mass shooters? Most times it's loneliness. They've been ostracized. They feel alone. They don't have any meaning in their life. They're looking just for something to make them feel, or worse, looking for something to make them famous, because that's how empty we are. Do you know that scientists now say they're on the verge of creating a pill to make loneliness go away? What the hell does that pill do to you? It makes you not feel lonely? Should we not be working on a pill and maybe perhaps working on ourselves to be able to see people for who they are and where they're going and what's happening in their life? Depression is something that hits and you think it's logical. It starts someplace logical. And then it's like a snowball. And if you're prone to clinical depression at all, and we all go through periods of time in our life where this happens to us, there's a chemical reaction. You're not getting the endorphins in your brain that you need. And so what happens is it starts out logical and then it becomes clinical, then it becomes chemical. And you go further and further and further down until you start thinking, the answer is the world's better without me, but I'm not going alone. Who's having a serious conversation about the mental health of our society? Who's having that conversation? Why do you think drugs, opioids, are so out of whack right now? We're having an epidemic. It's worse than anything I think we've ever had before. And I've lived a few years. I remember how bad crack was. I remember the heroin plague. I remember all of this. This is worse because it's coming in pills. And it's going everywhere. It's in the inner city. It's in the heartland. It's happening with Old people, business people, homeless people. It's happening with everybody. And it's rotting us from the inside. It's an opioid crisis. It's not an opioid crisis. It's a gun crisis. It's not a gun crisis. It's a human crisis. It's a soul crisis. It's a loneliness crisis. It's a lack of meaning crisis. It's a depression crisis. People only shoot other people when they feel there's no meaning attached to anything.